I've always gone to church. My dad was a Baptist lay preacher, so I was dedicated into the Baptist church as a baby. And then as we moved from South Yorkshire into West Yorkshire, we didn't have a Baptist church. So I went to the Methodist church when we lived down Ferry Bridge for a couple of years. And then we moved to Nottingley, and the lady that lived next door but one to us said, "Oh, why don't you go to the Salvation Army?" So we started going to the Salvation Army, and I stayed there till I was 18. And then when my dad died, we thought the Methodist Church would be the place to have his funeral. And I got in touch with a minister, and we had the funeral there. And then when I had my son, because I had my first son before we got married, I asked about him being christened, and he said, "Well, if you want your son to be part of the church, why aren't you?" sort of thing. And it made me think, yeah, why aren't I still? So we started going to family services originally. And Ropewalk were just so welcoming and so warm, and I just felt at home there. And then I went to a Billy Graham concert concert, whatever you want to call it, in, I think it was 86, early 86, Sheffield, with Ropewalk Church, and went forward. And Auntie Betty's always reminded me, I remember that day, and you've tried to live up to it, you know. So, that's my journey as it was.
And so what sort of work do you do now?
Now, I work part-time. I work 3 shifts a week, and I'm supporting adults with learning difficulties in a home. So we're working to try and give them independence and give them a fulfilling life. At the beginning, I was terrified of going it, especially as I have underlying health issues. And so we were being really careful. We only went shopping once a week. The only place I was going was to work and back. And we weren't going out or seeing anybody. And so, I thought I was taking all the precautions, extra precautions, being really careful. But as we know, I still managed to catch COVID-19.
Yeah, so you've been one of the ones that has tested positive. What was it like knowing that you needed to get tested then and waiting for the results?
So I went for my test on the Monday. Really frightening because such high security. All these people, all dressed. Although the PPE wasn't even as good as we've got at work, and they were doing the testing. And so, it was a bit scary, but I was thinking I've got nothing to worry about. I haven't got COVID-19. I got my results on the Wednesday morning, and I got up, saw that I'd got the response because they send you a text message, and I read it, and it was just 7 lines, but those 7 lines were so devastating. It just says you've tested positive for COVID-19 and refers you to the government website. So that was very, very frightening. And I sort of went into automatic pilot, I think. I wanted to inform people myself so that people didn't get the wrong impression that I was really poorly. And I think that helped me that first day. I mean, I cried and did all the things that you'd expect, I suppose. But talking to people on the phone actually helped, because I was being positive to them. Because when you say I've tested positive for COVID-19, you can hear in their voice, "Oh, goodness me." And so me trying to convince them that I was okay helped me. Do you know what I mean? It was reinforcing. But I still had my dark times. That night I still wrote a letter to my family just in case. I just wanted them to know how much I loved them. And it was difficult those first few days, and I didn't feel too bad. It was more emotional and mental once I'd got that positive test, and I don't think anything can prepare you for that. I was devastated. I just can't tell you how devastating that was. I was sure with my underlying health issues that it was my time. And I prayed. I really prayed. I normally pray, but I find it difficult to pray for myself, except for asking for forgiveness. But I really prayed that night that God would give me the strength to get through whatever was in front of me, because we just didn't know. Yeah, it was hard, and everybody rallied round. They were absolutely brilliant, my family, the people at Ropewalk with their support, and I could feel people praying for me. There was lots of people praying for me, and I could feel that. And at my weakest time, I was a wreck. I was an emotional, physical, everything wreck. And yeah, I felt calm inside, and I knew at that point that God was carrying me along. I don't think I would have been able to cope without God in my life. He was there. Although you don't always get your prayers answered in the way that you hope, I could feel the difference. I really could. As I say, from initial panic to a calmness within, and to accept whatever came, that God would be with me.
Was there a particular Bible verse or a hymn or something that you turned to, or you found yourself referring to?
Yeah, there was one that just kept coming through into my mind. Our God is a great big God.
Yeah. Were you doing the actions then? To our God is a great big God.
In my head, I was. Yeah, I don't think I had much strength to do actions. But I'm recovered now. I'm 2.5 weeks later, I think it is now, and I feel fine, and I'm ready to go back to work.
Yeah, good.
So yes.
Oh, we're so grateful for you sharing your story, and because it just, we hear so much about COVID, and you hear on the news all the negative stories, obviously, and the thousands and thousands of deaths are just unimaginable, aren't they? But
they are.
To know also that there are people who are getting the illness and recovering is just incredible. And to hear your story of how God has been with you in it is lovely, really encouraging.
Well,